Aloha, and welcome to VOSR International, the voice of shortwave radio. I'm your host, Wavecrest Guy. This broadcast is being transmitted by WRMI, Radio Miami International, in Okeechobee, Florida, on both 9455 and 15770 kilohertz. This broadcast is also being transmitted by shortwave radio in Lower Saxony, Germany, on 3975 kilohertz.
All right, we will start out this broadcast with some announcements like usual. And first off, I just want to say that I am back from my vacation over on Maui. We had a great time. You might notice I did come back with a summer cold, so there might be a little bit of coughing and my voice is a little rough. The very first day we got there, when I unloaded the car and we got into our condo, it was all closed up and it was kind of warm, and we turned on the air conditioning, and we haven't been with air conditioning since we really moved to Hawaii, and I turned on the air conditioning and I wasn't used to it. We slept with it on the first night, and I think that's when my cold ended up starting. It really got bad the day we were coming home, and I was really coughing and really bad. So you'll have to put up with that a little bit for this broadcast, but all in all, we're doing well, and it was a great trip. Don't forget, you can go over to our website at VOSRinternational.com, and there's a page for our Maui vacation, and we got a bunch of stuff on there. Now, next, I want to remind everyone that they can head over to our on Facebook. We do have a Facebook page, and it's VOSR International, and you can join over there. And when you join, then you can post, and people post reception reports and a lot of different reception reports, news from different clubs, news from all over the world regarding shortwave radio. So it's a good group to check out. So go over there and join us. Since I have been mentioning it on the broadcast here, quite a few people have joined. So when I first started, I didn't mention it at all, and a lot of people didn't realize it was out there. So there's a lot of people joining now. Then also wanted to mention that there is still some construction going on here at our condo, so you might hear some tools in the background. I'll try to get those out as much as I can, but you still might hear some noise in the background. Then, of course, also you can go over to my YouTube channel at Wavecrest Guy. I've got quite a few reception reports and videos on there where I compare radios, do evaluations on radios. I've got a lot of playlists, so if you're just interested in certain receptions or certain things, I got them categorized pretty well in some playlists. So go over to Wavecrest Guy, and you can subscribe over there. And that is also where I keep all of our past broadcasts for VOSR International. I do have them all on there. I wait about a week or two after they get broadcast on shortwave, then I make them available. So you will see a couple week delay there before they become available, but they all eventually on there. And the very first broadcast on February 28th of 2025 is on there also, and then all the way through. Then, of course, we have our website, VOSRinternational.com. You can go over there and check us out. I usually put a page with more information on some segments that we do here on the broadcast. There's also our past recordings page on there also with links that you can click to listen to all those. And then also we have a page dedicated to our listeners' radios. So if you send in a picture of your radio room, your equipment, we get that added to our growing line of pictures there where everybody can check out some really nice radios. Then also there is our listener map. We have a VOSR International listener map, and that's filling out rather nicely also. We've got pins from all around the world where listeners have sent us emails, sent us reception reports, and I'm able to add their location with a pin onto the map, so you can go check that out also. And I do want to add a reminder. We just got in a couple weeks ago, right before we went on our Maui vacation, our new VOSR International QSL cards. So I do have a new batch of QSL cards. You can send us in a reception report. Let us know how the reception is coming in your area. I can't tell you how important getting these emails means to the broadcast. It shows that there's people listening out there, because otherwise you're anonymous. You're out there listening. I have no idea how many people are out there listening, but if I get some emails, it really helps me know how the broadcast is being transmitted and the people are out there listening. So send us an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. You can also head over to our website at VOSRinternational.com, and you can click on the mail icon and contact us that way. But I can't stress it enough how important it is to send in and communicate with us. Let us know if you like a certain segment. We did get quite a few correspondents that really enjoyed Liam's segment and Greg Fishman's segment also. So it's really good to get those positive comments, and even if you have ideas for a broadcast. Now, also, I do want to mention that Liam is working on doing a broadcast here, and he's going to do the whole show 1 week. So we have that coming up. It might be as early as next week if things are going online, going good. But that could happen next week. Otherwise, it'll be very soon that we are going to have a guest broadcast and a guest host for a whole show. So those are always interesting. Get some different ideas going, get some different segments going, and people usually enjoy those. All right, now on with the show. This next segment is going to be a short little segment here, and I got an email from one of our regular listeners, Bernd, over in Germany, who listened to us on both 3975 kilohertz and 6160 kilohertz, and he had written, and he was saying he'd like a segment in German. And, of course, I do not speak German, unfortunately. But I mentioned to him if if he could get with somebody who wanted to record what he wanted to have out there, I would definitely put it on. And he got back to me within the next day, and I have a couple of recordings here that I am going to play. One will be in German, and one will be in English. And it basically, it gives the information about their listening club, the RTI listening club that they are that he's a member of, and really good information here. It gives everything you need to know. So if you want to join the club, you definitely can. So go ahead and give a listen.
Bei der Sendung von VOSR begrüßt euch der RTI Hörerclub Odenau, am Mikrofon Bernd,
Claudia
und
Sabrina.
Der RTI Hörerclub Odenau ist einer von 2 Hörerclubs von Radio Taiwan International in Deutschland. Außer in Odenau gibt es in Berlin noch einen weiteren RTI Hörerclub.
Der RTI Hörerclub Odenau hat mehrere regelmäßige Aktivitäten. Monatliche Internetunterhaltung bei Teams am 2. Samstag des Monats, die RTI Hörerclub-Ecke am 2. Freitag des Monats, die RTI DX-Tipps am letzten Freitag des Monats sowie die schriftliche Hörerclub-Info.
Jährlich am 3. Samstag im Mai findet unser überregionales DX-Treffen statt.
Der nächste Termin ist Samstag, 15. Mai 2027 ab 10 Uhr UTC in der Morgstube in Gaggenau. Dann schon zum 46. Mal seit 1980. Eine gute Tradition. Ihr hört gerade eine Sendung von VOSR aus USA über die Frequenzen 3975 kHz und 6160 kHz. Über die Senderanlage von Shortwave Radio in Deutschland. Dieses Programm wird derzeit jeden Donnerstag von 18 bis 19 Uhr UTC angeboten.
VOSR freut sich auch über Empfangsberichte von deutschsprachigen Hörern.
Um Ihnen die Anfertigung der Programmdetails zu erleichtern, wollen wir diesmal auch einen kurzen deutschsprachigen Beitrag senden. Empfangsberichte bitte an vosrint@yahoo.com.
For this VOSR broadcast, the RTI Listeners Club Ottenau welcomes you, joining you at the microphone of Bernd, Claudia, and Sabrina. The RTI Listeners Club Ottenau is one of two Radio Taiwan International Listeners Clubs located in Germany. In addition to the club in Ottenau, there is another RTI Listeners Club in Berlin. The RTI Listeners Club Ottenau hosts several regular activities, a monthly online chat via Teams on the second Saturday of the month, the RTI Listeners Club Corner on the second Friday of the month, RTI Dex Tips on the last Friday of the month, and a written club newsletter. Our regional DX gathering takes place annually on the third Saturday of May. The next scheduled date is Saturday, May 15, 2027, starting at 10 o'clock Coordinated Universal Time at the *Mergstube* in Gaggenau. This will mark the 46th gathering since 1980, a fine tradition. You are currently listening to a broadcast from VOSR in the USA. Transmitted on frequencies 3,975 and 6,160 kHz via the shortwave radio transmission facility in Germany. This program is currently broadcast every Thursday from 1800 to 1900 Coordinated Universal Time. VOSR also welcomes reception reports from German-speaking listeners, to make it easier for you to compile the necessary program details. We are including a short German language segment in this broadcast. Please send reception reports to vosrint@yahoo.com.
So I want to thank Bernd for the suggestion there on getting these announcements out. If any of the listening clubs, SWL clubs out there have some announcements you want to get out, let me know, and I will try to get them on the air, try to get them on a broadcast. Sometimes it could be a little bit hard timing-wise, getting them out in a timely fashion, because I'm usually working 1 to 2 weeks in advance of when these broadcasts come out. But send them to me. We'll get them in, and because I know there's definitely some contests and that type of thing that listeners would be interested in. So again, send us an email. Are you a member of this club already? Are you a member of another club? And we want to get that mentioned here on the air. Send us an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. Or head over to our website at VOSRinternational.com, and you can click on the mail icon and contact us that way. And now on to the mailbag. First, I do want to mention that I've got a segment all set and ready to go that closes out our Maui vacation. But this broadcast, I couldn't make it fit on here, so this will be on probably either the next or the one after that, future broadcast coming up in the next week or two. So you can look forward to that, closing out our Maui vacation. All right, our first email comes from Robert in Medicine Hat, Alberta, and he writes, "Greetings, I'm listening to your broadcast this evening from Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada on 9455 kilohertz. On May 16th. You were discussing logbooks that shortwave listeners use. I attached a picture of my radio. I was listening to you on my Yaesu FT710 with a homemade end-fed half-wave antenna up a tree in my backyard. And I do have a picture of his radio that we did put on the our webpage, listener radios. So head over to VOSRinternational.com and look under listeners radios to check out this radio. Very nice radio, by the way. Thanks, Rob. And next we have an email from regular listener Justin in Wisconsin, and he writes, "I hope you have a wonderful time on your vacation. Thanks for the show." He was listening on 9455 kilohertz on May 23rd, and he was using an RSP Duo with a K480 WLA antenna, reporting an SINPO of 45444. So coming in very nicely over to Wisconsin. Thanks again, Justin. Next, we have an email from Al from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and he writes, listening now, this was on May 23rd, and he was listening on 15770 kilohertz from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, reporting a signal of S9 plus 20 with a very occasional fading to S8 with QRN and QRM. The discussion of the subject is my Hawaii vacation. He also adds his rig is an FT710 with a 6-meter dipole taped to the wall in a second-floor apartment. Obviously not a great setup, but it came booming in, so great reception there. Thank you so much, Al, for your email. And if it's coming in that well, it must be working great. Thanks again. And next we have an email from Liam, and he wanted to write, says, Dear Jeff, I just wanted to let you know that I received your QSL card in the mail today. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Liam, for continuing to be a VOSR International listener and guest host. And next we have a email from listener Yagel, and he writes, Good day, dear Jeff. Listening several times to VOSR, for example, on May 21st, and on shortwave gold on 6160 kilohertz. The receiver I used was a Sangen ATS 909X2 and an active loop GA450, reporting an SINPO of 3433. He also thanked me for the EQSL that I sent out, and Yagel is reporting from Germany. Thank you, Yagel. And next we have an email from Tom from Milford, Ohio. He writes, Aloha, Jeff. I enjoyed your latest broadcast about your trip to Maui on 9455 kilohertz. Reception was great on my Texan PL880. I usually record the broadcast with my digital recorder, which I also did this time. I have really enjoyed the historical broadcasts such as Winston Churchill's speech, Tokyo Rose, etc., and also enjoyed the guest hosts as well. I wanted to let you know that I bought an XH Data D109WB shortwave radio with the weather band, which is a very nice radio. I also recently bought a Odson a DX286, which is also very nice, and I like the case that it comes with. After hearing your review of it and reading other reviews, I was very surprised that mine came with a battery in it. They must be paying attention to reviews and mentioning other brands like Texan and XH Data are including batteries, and have decided to do the same. Thanks again for putting VOSR on the air, and I look forward to the rest of the broadcast. Thank you so much, Tom, for your message. And next we have an email from regular listener Hidemi from Tokyo, Japan, and he writes that he is pleased to report the reception from May 28th on 3975 kilohertz using a web SDR from the Netherlands. And he also writes, I couldn't wake up in time, 3 a.m., to listen to the beginning. I missed the first part. Tokyo is getting tropical high humid, and I miss dry Hawaiian air. Thank you for introducing my report, and I'll check Greg's show on WRMI. Yes, be sure to check out Greg Fishman's program. I know everyone's going to enjoy that. I hope you find my reception report useful. As always, Ademi, thank you so much for mailing in a reception report. These are so helpful, so I know how the broadcast gets transmitted out, and it really helps keep track of how this goes. And at least I know that people are out there listening. Thanks again. Next, we have an email from Carrie, regular listener in Finland, writes, Hello, Jeff. Nice to hear that you have received letters from both Sweden as well as from Finland. I recorded that Swedish message and he recorded a sound clip and published it on the NordX email group. The reception here in North Europe was quite good and clean via shortwave Swedish Grotto SDR. Was an S9, but was also strong via Finland, but maybe with more noise and sound. I prepare also in my shortwave log for the printed Finnish DX magazine, RM Radio World in English, where I also have told about VOSR shows, and again, as usual. Summer is approaching, but this week has been pretty chilly here in Lahti, by the way. +5 and then +5 to 10 degrees Celsius. But on Saturday, on the day of the new graduate celebration after school ends, the temperature raises to a comfortable +20 Celsius. Again, thanks for the nice show. Thank you so much, Carrie. Next, we have an email from Stephen from Springs, Texas. He writes, Hello, Jeff. To receive the postcard QSL would be awesome, so I do have one out in the mail for you. That's quite a view. I'm in the northern suburbs of Houston, a subsea mechanical engineer in the oil and gas sector. My radio is a Texan PL880. I've only got the whip antenna for now, but I do have a 100-foot spool of wire that I intend to snake out my window and around a fence line to see if my reception will improve. I did bring my radio to the beach house in Galveston last week and noted much better reception there. I am a travel junkie of sorts, fascinated with foreign places since I was a kid. Shortwave seems like a natural extension of this lifelong curiosity. I can tell that the community of radio enthusiasts is welcoming and eager to share what they know, which is really great for a beginner. Warm regards, Stephen. Thank you so much, Stephen. Thanks for the email, and thank you for continuing to listen to VOSR International. And next, I got an email from Tori over in Sweden. He just reports that he did get his QSL card in the mail, which is great. And he said, hope you are feeling fine, and thank you for the nice card, which I find in my post box today. It will take a nice place in my collection. I also listened when you read my letter in the mailbag yesterday on the 28th with good reception. Have a nice time over there. Greetings from warm and sunny Sweden. Thank you so much, Tori. Thanks for letting me know that you did get the QSL card. That always helps if you request a card and I get one out in the mail. Please send me an email back letting me know when you got it, because that helps me gauge of how long it takes for these to go out all over the world. Thanks again. And that's going to conclude our mailbag segment for this week. Keep the emails coming. I'm trying to space out some of the mailbag emails that I get with Liam doing the a guest spot. I am going to be forwarding him some, so he'll have some mailbag that he wanted to go over, and then I'm also going to have him go over some of the postings that were on our Facebook page at VOSR International over there. There's usually always quite a few receptions that get recorded and put over on there. And so if you haven't checked that out yet, if you are on Facebook, don't forget to head over to VOSR International and check us out on Facebook. But keep those emails coming in. It helps me know that there are people out there listening, of course. And, of course, it helps me out knowing how this transmission is being broadcast. So send us your emails at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. Or you can also head over to our website at VOSRinternational.com, and you can click on the mail icon and contact us that way. You can also post over at Facebook. Go to VOSR International, join the group, and then you can post, and those will be read on the air also. And now for another segment of historic shortwave radio broadcasts. And I have been getting actually quite a bit of communications here, people asking about these segments, and they want to know which broadcast they were on. So I am going to go ahead and put a list of when I started them and what dates they're on. So if you want to go back and listen to some of the older broadcasts, you can catch up on some of the historical broadcasts that I had went over already. And it does come up in the emails quite a bit that they really enjoyed these historical segments. And I really must admit they are one of my favorite also. I really like checking them out, and I've learned so much new things that I never knew before. I knew about the event, of course, but I didn't really know a lot of the small details of it, and it's really interesting to check on these. So today's is going to be on the fall of Saigon, and this was on April 30th of 1975. Shortwave radio provided an invaluable real-time audio window into the fall of Saigon on April 30th, 1975. Listeners globally tuned in to hear the official state broadcasters, wartime communications, and foreign correspondents reporting on the final moments of the Vietnam War. Official announcements. The Voice of Vietnam, the state broadcaster of North Vietnam, transmitted historic broadcasts announcing the capture of the presidential palace and the surrender of the South Vietnamese government. These broadcasts were frequently intercepted and relayed by other international shortwave stations, such as Shortwave Radio Havana, Cuba. And there was global coverage. International broadcasters like Radio Moscow, Radio Japan, Radio Netherlands, Radio South Africa broke into their regular programming to deliver news alerts to shortwave listeners worldwide. Evacuation transmissions, and this was kind of one of the more interesting segments of it, is during the Operation Frequent Wind, the massive helicopter airlift, high frequency, and tactical shortwave radio was the lifeline. Pilots, airborne commanders, and U.S. Navy ships, such as the USS Kirk and the USS Midway, use shortwave frequencies to coordinate extraction flights and direct refugees and communicate distress. So the first broadcast that I want to play is the Voice of Vietnam broadcast over Radio Havana, Cuba, announcing the fall of Saigon and the end of the Vietnam War. So I am going to play that one for you right now. All right, so this next broadcast is going to have a different tone to it, and of course, this was some coverage from the RSA, and then Radio Netherlands, Radio Japan, and Radio Moscow. And again, this is from April 30th, 1975.
21 hours Greenwich Mean Time, 11 p.m. South African Time on Wednesday the 30th of April. Good evening from Radio RSA, the Voice of South Africa, broadcasting to West Africa and Europe, and 11900 kilohertz in the 25-meter band, 9525 kilohertz in the 31-meter band, 7270 kilohertz in the 41-meter band, and 5980 kilohertz in the 49-meter band. Here is the news read by June Palmer. The Provisional Communist Government of South Vietnam has said in the capital Saigon that generosity and leniency will be shown towards enemy soldiers who surrender to them, and that foreign property will be protected. The new government has decreed that looters will be severely dealt with and has appealed for a quick return to normal life. It has told its troops to quickly establish revolutionary order and continue disarming and dispersing enemy troops. The International Red Cross is attempting to establish contact with the Viet Cong so that its new government can make use of its experience in directing refugees home and in tracing the missing. It is announced from the North Vietnamese capital Hanoi that Saigon will be known in future as Ho Chi Minh in honor of the country's former president who died in 1969. It is believed that American warships are still picking up South Vietnamese refugees off the country's coast. Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew has warned Commonwealth leaders at their conference in Jamaica that his country could be next to be overrun by communists following the fall of South Vietnam and Cambodia. He said the events of the past weeks showed a decline of Western influence in Southeast Asia. India, Thailand, and Laos have officially recognized the Provisional Revolutionary Government of South Vietnam, while Japan, Finland, and Sweden have said they will take steps to do so. Britain has said she will continue to recognize the present ambassador in London.
This is Radio Nederland, the Dutch World Broadcasting System, in Hilversum, Holland. We're broadcasting to the eastern part of North America. We're broadcasting on 25.58 and 30.88 meters. That's on frequencies of 11,730 and 9,715 kilohertz. Wednesday, April 30th. We're on the air until 22:50 GMT. First, the news, read by Alan Clark. The new revolutionary rulers of South Vietnam have reiterated that they will conduct a policy of peace and non-alignment. In Argentina, 3 political commentators and a leftist woman journalist have been abducted. In the black residential districts of Luanda, capital of Angola, there's been fighting for the second day running between supporters of rival freedom movements. Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam, has been renamed Ho Chi Minh City to honor the North Vietnamese leader who died in 1969. The surrender of Saigon put an end to the war that has ravaged Vietnam for nearly 35 years. A war that's claimed more than 1 million lives, including those of 56,000 Americans. The population of the capital welcomed the revolutionary troops with enthusiasm and relief. The new rulers have occupied all ministerial offices and strategic points and called on the population, the civil servants, and the police to stay at their jobs, to make everything function as normally as possible. The last president of South Vietnam, General Minh, has been arrested, and his fate is unknown. Meanwhile, several countries have recognized the new regime, which announced that it intends to follow a policy of peace and non-alignment. The new revolutionary rulers are prepared to maintain diplomatic relations with any country, regardless of its political or social principles. This was stated by representatives of the Provisional Revolutionary Government of South Vietnam in Paris. An announcement in Washington said that some 65,000 Vietnamese have been evacuated. Most of them have been working for Americans, but a number had other reasons to fear the consequences of a communist takeover. 50 American citizens voluntarily stayed behind in South Vietnam. They are mainly journalists and missionaries. The United States Treasury Department has banned all financial and commercial transactions with South Vietnam by American residents. Exceptions will be made, but they must require special permits. The bank accounts held by South Vietnamese in the United States have also been blocked. A similar measure was taken for Cambodia after the fall of Phnom Penh. The Swiss government has banned the import and storage of gold from South Vietnam and Cambodia. The world-famous Swiss banker's discretion will not apply to gold from these two countries. The measure is connected with reports that ex-President Thieu tried a few weeks ago to ship South Vietnam's gold stocks to Switzerland in a chartered plane.
This is Radio Japan, the overseas broadcasting service of NHK in Tokyo.
この放送はラジオ日本のジェネラルサービスです。東京からお送りいたします。
Japan, the overseas broadcasting service of NHK in Tokyo. We are now broadcasting on 15.195 megahertz in the 19-meter band, 15.105 megahertz also in the 19-meter band, and 9.585 megahertz in the 31-meter band. This general service of Radio Japan can be heard daily from 23 to 2400 hours Greenwich Mean Time. We now bring you the news, followed by commentary. And now here's the news, and first the headlines. South Vietnamese liberation forces have occupied Saigon following the unconditional surrender of the government there, putting an end to 30 years of war in Vietnam. A representative of the South Vietnam Provisional Revolutionary Government in Paris says the new regime in Saigon will follow a non-aligned foreign policy. And the Japanese government is expected to recognize a new government in Saigon at an early date after its establishment following the surrender of the Saigon government. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. South Vietnamese liberation forces have occupied Saigon following the unconditional surrender of the government there, thus putting an end to 30 years of war in Vietnam. Japanese correspondents in Saigon report in a dispatch that President Wan Ban-min of the Saigon government transferred food power to liberation forces at his presidential palace in the capital city. Liberation forces took over the government radio station and announced that they have accepted the unconditional surrender made by General Duan Ban-min. They described him as president of the former government. The radio also said that they had completely liberated Saigon and the capital has been named Ho Chi Minh City. The radio controlled by liberation forces called on the Saigon government soldiers to turn in their arms. It said that a curfew has been ordered in Saigon from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and that people who disturb public order will be punished severely. The radio called on workers to return to work. Japanese correspondents in Saigon report that the situation there has returned to quiet after liberation forces have moved into the capital city and public order there has been maintained. A representative of the South Vietnamese Provisional Revolutionary Government in Paris says that the new regime in Saigon will follow a non-aligned foreign policy. Mr. Din Ba Thi, chief of the PRG delegation in Paris, said his government is ready to establish diplomatic relations with all countries on the basis of mutual respect of independence and sovereignty. He said that the PRG is willing to accept economic and technical aid from any country, provided that there are no political strings attached. Mr. T also said that the PRG will work for the peaceful reunification of North and South Vietnam. This news is coming to you from Radio Japan, Tokyo. This is the General Service of Radio Japan, transmitting on 9.585, 15.105, and 15.195 megahertz. The Japanese government is expected to recognize the new government in South Vietnam at an early date after it is established, following the surrender of the Saigon government to the Provisional Revolutionary Government. Foreign Minister Miyazawa says that Japan will recognize a new government in Saigon if it establishes effective control of South Vietnam. Radio Japan's political reporters say that the Japanese government regards the victory of South Vietnamese liberation forces as one of the inevitabilities of history. Our reporters also note that there are voices in Japan calling for an early recognition of a new government in South Vietnam, and there are also moves toward the recognition of it among the member countries of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, with which Japan intends to strengthen ties. However, Japanese Foreign Ministry sources say that it will take time for the Japanese government to have active diplomatic relations with the new government in South Vietnam. The same sources point out that the Japanese government has maintained diplomatic relations with the Saigon government for more than 20 years and has been on the side of the United States, which had supported militarily and economically the Saigon government. In a related story, the Japanese embassy in Saigon reports that a total of 163 Japanese nationals are still remaining in there. They include 22 officials of the embassy, 37 news reporters, and 28 company employees. The Japanese are staying at the embassy, the ambassador's residence, and hotels. Sweden and Finland have recognized the Provisional Revolutionary Government of South Vietnam. A number of other countries, including Thailand and Malaysia, have announced their readiness to recognize the new regime in Saigon.
Radio Moscow. The South Vietnam Liberation Forces had entered Saigon. The Saigon regime capitulated unconditionally. The flag of the Provisional Revolutionary Government was hoisted over the presidential palace. Our commentary was written by news analyst Yuri Shalikin. What has now happened was inevitable. The Vietnamese people's long struggle has been crowned with victory. The lessons of this great victory are of worldwide significance. The first lesson to be derived is that a nation fighting for freedom and independence cannot be conquered. It's invincible. No matter how much Western propaganda slanders the liberation forces, it is a fact that they are part of the people, that they express the people's interests. This was strikingly demonstrated by the events of the past few weeks, by the popular uprisings in the rapidly shrinking zone of the puppet regime, and by the enthusiastic welcome given to the liberation forces in Da Nang, in many other South Vietnamese cities, and now in Saigon. The Vietnamese patriots displayed heroism, courage, and staunchness as they fought for their right to be masters in their own home. After World War II, no other nation has known the trials that befell Vietnam. Attempts were made to bomb Vietnam back into the Stone Age, as one high-ranking American general put it. It was burnt with napalm and poisoned with chemicals. Its people were massacred by the butchers of Song Mi. It was saddled with the Saigon puppet regime, which waged a war against its own people and was prepared to put the entire nation into the tiger cage. The Vietnamese patriots went through all of this, but their will was not broken. They have attained their goal. They have won. Their victory has made it clear how much the possibilities of imperialism have shrunk. Nothing can now help it to turn back the march of history. That's the second major lesson of the Vietnamese people's victory. And the third one is the effectiveness of internationalism, of international solidarity. No nation fighting for freedom and its inalienable rights is alone in its just struggle. It has many friends all over the world, as is shown by Vietnam. All these years, the Vietnamese people had the support of the Soviet Union, the other socialist countries, and all the progressive mankind. This support helped them win their cause. The Soviet people heartily congratulate the Vietnamese on their signal victory. Their victory reflects the main direction in which the world is developing. This is indicated by the lessons of Vietnam. These lessons should be remembered particularly by those who are trying to go against the current or to stop it.
And there you have it, some nice different variations of a broadcast announcing the fall of Saigon with different viewpoints there, and it's really interesting to hear those, and it's amazing the differences between them. It was really interesting. One other tidbit that I had come across in researching this, the public affairs officer in Saigon suggested to the American radio service that there should be a coded announcement, a signal to all Americans who were still in Saigon that the end has come and it was time for the final evacuation. Together they agreed on playing a song that was out of season that all Americans would instantly recognize, White Christmas, coupled with the announcement that the temperature in Saigon was 105 degrees and rising. A handout with that information was distributed by U.S. Marines to any Americans who visited the embassy during the last couple of weeks in April. But when he got back to the station, he found out that thousands of records and tapes that they had, they did not have a copy of Bing Crosby's White Christmas. But he did find a copy of Tennessee Ernie Ford's version on the LP. So in preparation, he pre-recorded both of the temperature announcement and the Tennessee Ernie Ford track onto the tape cartridges. Eventually, faced with no choice, President Gerald Ford ordered all Americans in Vietnam out of the country. In the early hours of Tuesday, April 29th, Saigon Airfield was hit hard by rocket fire and was put out of action for the fixed-wing aircraft. The North Vietnamese were at a Newport Bridge and only 2 miles from the center of Saigon, so at 10:51 a.m. the order was given to commence Operation Frequent Wind, the final activation by helicopter. The DAO called Chuck Neal and told him it was time to make the coded announcement and play Right Christmas. There are a couple of hundred Vietnamese in the inside the station compound at this point. They had been there for several days, hoping to be evacuated with station staff. Chuck pulled a van up to the side of the building and quietly got his 3 American colleagues, their Vietnamese engineers, and a couple other Americans who happened to be there and were able to squeeze in. Then he dashed back inside the building, and his last act as an American radio service, Chuck grabbed the 2 cartridges, punched them up in the Gates automatic programmer, and set them to play alternate on repeat. So I thought that was a fascinating piece at the end there that I had no idea about, that they had this coded message ready to go. So let us know what you think. Do you remember hearing some of these different broadcasts, or some of the stations that I played during this segment? Let us know. Send us an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. Or head over to our website at VOSRinternational.com and click on the mail icon and contact us that way. And with this segment, I'd like to give another reminder for the Worldwide DX Club contest that are coming up. WWDXC FIFA World Cup contest is going to be running from June 11th, 2026 to July 19th of 2026. The FIFA World Cup contest starts on 0000 UTC on June 11th and ends at midnight of July 19th, 2026. Listening to one BC station of every country of the World Cup teams, and each country station can be logged only once. Only broadcast stations, no WebSDR, DRM, military, amateur, pirate, or meteorological stations with your own local receiver and antenna. The frequency range is going to be from 150 kilohertz to 30000 kilohertz, and only stations according to WRTH. Listening at least 15 minutes. The scoring will be computed as follows. You get 3 points for a station and transmitter in the same country. BBC, WOF equals 3 points for England. 2 points per station in the country, so BBC SLA would be 2 points for England, and 1 point the transmitter in country. WOF would be 1 point for England. 1 extra point for log during the game, and there'll be a maximum of 4 points per team, and then 2 extra points both final teams during the game. Only 1 log per country, maximum of 42 logs. The logs must contain useful references, the name, address, receiver, antenna, frequency, date, time, SINPO, the station, transmitter, language, and details. A short declaration as follows. I take responsibility of myself that I have listened to all these stations reported during the time of validation of the contest. A prepared log sheet is available. The log sheet with your participation fee must be sent to Bernd Henning. He's the contest manager, and that's Dorfst, DORFSRT 6A D-23795, Stipsdorf, Germany. And there's an email of contest@wwdxc.de, not later than August 15th of 2026. The participation fee is a minimum of €5, no IRCs, to be sent with your listening list and contest manager or PayPal to the contest. Each participant will receive a certificate of participation, and the prizes for the best three participants are as follows. First is a WRTH 2026 printed edition, and then a digital set from ADDX on a USB stick, and that is the same for the third prize. I have all this information over on our website at VOSRinternational.com. You can click on it, and I have the sheet that I just read from right there on the website, so you can check that out, and then you can get entered for the contest. Good luck, everyone.
And that concludes our broadcast. Be sure to catch our broadcasts every Saturday at 0300 UTC on 9455 kHz, and also on Saturdays at 2300 UTC on 15770 kHz. Transmitted by WRMI, Radio Miami International, from Okeechobee, Florida.
We are also broadcast by Shortwave Radio Gold in Lower Saxony, Germany, on Thursdays at 1800 UTC on both 3975 kHz and 6160 kHz.